Hello, I'm the Bunny Man.
And I'm Crazy Susie.
And we are in the Eyes of Terror. And Merry Christmas still. So, yeah. Leading up to the big day.
Sure.
Yeah. Secret Santa. So here's a late gift you found in the fireplace, I guess.
Right.
It's our podcast. Woo! Fair warning, we are not intended for younger viewers. We do talk about boobs, blood, and booze.
And guts.
And guts.
And gross things, so.
But we do not curse, surprisingly enough.
Try not to.
Try not to.
When I do, he yells at me.
I do. I do. So, yeah. So tonight's movie is Secret Santa 2015. And you want to do What Are We Drinking?
What are you drinking?
What am I drinking? I am drinking ice cold water right now.
No, you're not.
Hear that? That's me.
And it
Delicious.
is ice water because
It's out of a bowl.
the Luna is quite particular about her H2O. And it's a Halloween bowl.
It's absolutely refreshing. Now, I am drinking Samuel Adams Winter Lager. It's a festive bock with spices. Winter Lager's rich malt notes and accents of cinnamon, ginger, and orange peel are just the right companion for decking the halls. Your holiday table, your fridge, your hand. You get the picture no matter what or how you celebrate. Do it with a winter lager. And yeah. And the nifty thing is this is good to April.
Sure it is.
Yeah, well, that's what the little thing says.
Not sure if I would trust that.
Well, still feel Samuel Adams.
Mmm.
Well, it's okay. Just a lot of complexities on it. Just a lot of complexities, and it'll just sort of get muddled.
Throw it out with the dishwater, huh?
Not my cup of tea, because it's just the issue I always have with Sam Adams, especially their holiday stuff, except for like Old Fizzywig is the only one I actually sort of enjoy. And that's from like last year. It's just too many complex ingredients at one time. Like cinnamon is a complex warming spice, and then the ginger and the orange peel. Just the cinnamon and I think it's the ginger that just compete.
Mm-hmm.
They're very warming spices, and it could be simply either or. You get a little bit of that orange peel at the end, but definitely not one I really recommend. But again, I'm not a big Sam Adams fan. They always have a bitter aftertaste also. So it just seems a little bit more bitter than even like a bitter beer would have. I don't know if it's the cinnamon.
Ginger would be more bitter than cinnamon.
Yeah, but other than that, yeah, it's okay.
So I'm having what I normally have.
Diet Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper. It's either sweet tea or Dr. Pepper, and today it's Dr. Pepper, so.
Okay.
I would hate to throw everybody off and have something different.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're known for our consistency. That's why we're doing Halloween in June. I mean Christmas in June. Halloween in June sounds like a good idea, but anyway.
June?
I mean January. I don't know why I was thinking June. Maybe for Christmas in July. I don't know. So anyway.
Yes, the film is Secret Santa 2015. We viewed this on Prime. And IMDb gives it a 4.9 out of 10, which isn't horrible. The director and writer are both Mike McMurrin. It has a pretty extensive cast list. The cast are Annette Wozniak, plays Nicole. Geoff Almond plays Dwayne. Keegan Chambers plays Carissa. Brent Baird plays Bryan. Nicole Kawalez plays Olivia. Tony Nash plays Professor Ramsey. Matthew Chisholm, I'm not 100% sure, plays Clay. Astrida Asha plays Phyllis. I hate that, I'm sorry. Alexandra Simpson plays May. Andrea Becker plays the pizza... Andre Becker plays the pizza dude. John Nicole plays the webcam creeper. We'll leave it at that, because I'm tired of butchering people's names. The full list is on imdb.com. So basically the film is a group of eccentric college kids struggling to get through the hectic exam period is what it's about. This film won one award. The estimated budget for it in Canadian dollars was 6,000 Canadian dollars. That roughly is
5 cents and 22.
No. $4,516.68 USD. The filming location was Cambridge and Ontario, Canada. Interesting information. Mm-hmm. Who knew you could make a film in under $5,000?
Well, they did.
They did. And I think a lot of it was spent on Christmas wrap and rusty...
Really? You think they just get that from, like, their...
it's a joke.
Yeah.
Rusty implements to put in packaging. And party snacks from...
Oh. It's probably the full party snacks there. That's probably at least 3,000 of it. Alright. We open up on the credits as we're greeted with Real Phobia Productions, and it's dripping red over white. I sort of like the wordplay because it's real, R-E-E-L. Then we hear two girls walking in the snow, and we find out one is drunk, and they were both kicked out, or one was kicked out, and the other one is her friend, so she accompanied her, kicked out of the bar. They get home, and as the sober friend opens the door, the drunk one, Carissa, falls into the snow. Jerry gets her, which is her friend, into the house, and Carissa balks all over Jerry's shirt. Then Jerry goes into her room, lays down, curses at Carissa, takes a swig from her flask, which sounds empty. Then Jerry gets undressed and decides to take a shower, which is conveniently already on. After her shower, which is only like 5 seconds, after her shower, she goes back into her room and sees a package, and it reads, "Merry Christmas from your Secret Santa," which she comments cute. Then she opens the door and yells that we're not supposed to do Secret Santa till tomorrow. Then she opens the gift because she can't wait. Opens the gift and sees that she is gifted a power drill.
Yep. An old used power drill.
Of course, she isn't happy with the gift because, I guess power drills weren't on her.
But she says, a power drill. Ah, a good choice.
Yeah.
No bath bombs, lottery tickets, but a power drill.
She turns on some music and goes back into the bathroom. Jerry comes back into the room, and the power drill is gone. She yells for people to stop screaming with her because it's a Friday at 10 o'clock and she is sober. A door opens. It's another one of the roommates investigating what is going on. We establish she is not screaming with Jerry. Jerry turns around and a masked man grabs her, throws her onto the bed, and proceeds to drill out her eye when we get the
opening credits.
The opening credits with some synthetic music. So we get our first kill within like
5-ish minutes.
5-ish minutes, and it's a doozy. It's not a bad one.
So number one, Jerry had an eyeful.
Yes. It's 3 out of 5? It sets the tone at least. Next morning we see Carissa is waking up from her drunken slumber, and we see a car coming as there's a guy in the car, and he's going to the house, and as he drives past 3 people, he splashes snow muck on them.
Dirty slush. Street slush.
Yeah. On the people, we see the car park and the guy get out. Next, we see a cam girl doing cam girl things. And she was ready to use a plunger till she hears a knock on the door and realizes it's 7:30. She refunds the money to the viewers and rushes to get ready. So I am sort of intrigued on what was going to happen with the plunger.
I imagined she was going to use it like a vacuum.
Yeah. Carissa answers the door to Bryan and calls for Nicole. Nicole is freaking out as she is getting ready. Because, yeah.
Carissa's hungover, answers the door, and asks Bryan if he has a Percocet on him. He says, just black tar heroin.
Yeah, I like that statement.
Just black tar heroin.
Just black tar heroin. Next, we see a bald-headed mustache guy. We see that he's slacking off during the entire term, and he's starting to get ready for the final, and realizes it's a cumulative final, and that the server is down because he just relied that the professor would put the notes on to the class's server.
Website.
Yeah. And it doesn't load up. And he starts to cram by using all sorts of college tricks.
Caffeine overload.
Caffeine.
No dose,
you name it. Things that keep you awake.
He was snorting that stuff.
Yeah.
He crammed for 72 hours.
But he does fail at, getting ready to cram. He's actually, falls asleep after through his cram session. Next, we see a professor and his TA, the housemate Liv. We find out that they are dating, and they only have 12 more hours before they can announce that they're together, and he can shout it from the rooftops. But she wants to get down while she's still his TA, but he is apprehensive about it. She invites him to a party that they are throwing that night. He tries to get out of it by saying it's weird because they are his current students, and she points out that they're not after the final. And he's like, yeah. And so he gets stuck sort of going to said soiree. Next, we see Carissa searching for a straightener, and we pan to see the corpse of Jerry is just chilling underneath the bed, and no one notices. And again, my question is dead body does have a smell to it, even if it's just been a short while.
A very distinctive smell.
Next, Bryan and Nicole drive up to the university. Nicole goes through her bag, searching for something, and she forgot that she has a big old dildo still in it, and she panics. And shoves it back into the thing and goes, yeah, there's nothing in here.
Bryan asked her for her notes.
Yeah. Next, the bald-headed guy, Dwayne, knocks on the window, and he gets in, and he's all sort of shaky, and reveals he hasn't slept for 4 days, 3 to 4 days. And he tries to drink a cup of coffee that he forgets is in one hand, and yeah. He's just all sorts of out of whack. Next, we see Carissa making a call, apologizing for being grumpy. Bryan says he can't talk right now, and he has to go as Nicole calls for him in the classroom. Next, Liv is in the professor's office, marking papers. She opens the drawer to reveal a small present. She tries to peek, but is interrupted by a phone call. Dwayne, Bryan, and Nicole are getting ready for the exam. Dwayne realizes he is out of some uppers and starts hallucinating. He starts seeing Nicole's face disproportionate.
Yep.
Her eyes getting really big and her mouth getting really big. And then he gets startled and throws the bottle halfway across the room. Liv and Carissa sort of get into it about a wreath and decor, which this whole house is so decorated for an old person who enjoys airplanes. Not a bunch of college girls. Did you notice that? There's photos of P-51s and like illustrations of P-51s and other World War II aircraft. Even the wreath and the mantle are like old people. I mean, it just doesn't look like party girls, college girls live there. It was just a very weird. It's like somebody used somebody else's grandparents' house and forgot to take down the decor, or they couldn't disturb the decor. And they make a short observation to summarize their fight, which is just okay, sort of stupid. Carissa drinks. Liv asks about Jerry since she is now missing. Carissa is dismissive and says she will be at the party tonight because we find out that Jerry is a big party animal, supposedly. Next, we see Dwayne crashing in his dorm as a fire alarm goes off, and he freaks out because he's extremely tired at this point. And he is coming down hard. And Nicole and Bryan are in the car. Nicole tries to tell him about her side gig, but miserably fails because she gets really nervous. Nicole comes home and sees she has a whole bunch of bills. She opens and she starts freaking about the bills. It's like tuition and rent and this and that. She opens the refrigerator to reveal a rather large cucumber, and she asks if anyone is going to eat it. Next we see she is starting a new show as Cooking with Naughty Nikki in a bad Russian accent. And someone informs her in the chat that somebody is peeping in on her. She freaks out, but no one is there. Like the peeper ducks now. Next, Dwayne is outside his dorm as the bomb squad is called, and he just starts crying, which is not a pretty sight. Next, Carissa calls Bryan and gets angry because he didn't answer. Then Dwayne shows up and tells them all he wants is just to sleep. They put him in Jerry's room because she's obviously not there, which is starting to smell, as they say she must not have taken out the garbage. Dead bodies do not smell like garbage. Next, we see a gloved hand preparing a gift of a well-used meat cleaver. Next, we see Carissa barging into Bryan's house/room. We find out that they hooked up, and she threatens to tell Nicole. Carissa says there is one way to keep her quiet, and as he takes out his wallet, she takes his wallet, and she shows up again in the whole bunch of bags because she obviously went on a shopping spree. Next, Nicole is done with her show when Liv knocks on the door asking her if she has seen the bowl of fruit and veg, and she grabs it, and as she opens the door, Liv comes in, grabs the bowl and fruit, and decides to make a smoothie out of it as Nicole looks on in horror because
It's been places.
it's seen some stuff. It's seen some stuff. That kumquat has definitely been kumquatted. Do you want to take over?
She says, "No thanks. I've had my fair share of roughage," as she's gagging.
Yeah.
Dwayne falls out of bed and sees Jerry under the bed. Nicole hears the noise and comes in to check on him and tells him. He tells her Jerry is under the bed and points and says she is missing an eye. He tells her to look, and there's nothing there. They order pizza. The delivery man leaves. When getting into the car, his headlights shine on a man dressed all in black who is peeping into the girl's window. He yells out to the guy and runs after him. He goes to get back into his car to leave because, as he says, he doesn't get paid enough for this. And then his throat is cut.
This one was a really useless kill, in my opinion. I felt like it was just a placeholder kill.
Number 2, cold delivery pizza guy. Lame. That's what I put.
Yeah, that's a 2 out of 5. It was a useless kill. Like I said, it was placeholder at best. Just something to fill in that time because there's not enough kill at that second.
Oh yeah, it's been a while. Let's kill somebody.
Yeah, let's just randomly kill this guy.
So they're fixing to have a party, but they order a pizza.
But we never see the pizza again.
We don't see anybody eat it. None of that happens. Okay. Liv sets up the finishing touches, and everyone starts arriving. Bryan brings a bottle of alcohol. They question Liv about who her romance interest is.
We also forgot there's a big bowl of eggnog by the door, too, because Liv made it. I don't understand the eggnog thing. Never will.
Dwayne wakes up and joins the party. Everyone is concerned about Jerry.
We also find out that Dwayne really likes eggnog.
Yeah. Everyone's concerned about Jerry not showing up, as she never misses a party. So Liv goes into the other
Maybe it's
room
the eggnog.
to text her. She tells everyone to eat up the snacks she made. They spit them out, almost in unison, and quickly look for places to hide them.
Yeah, it sort of like, it reminds me of that Mr. Bean episode. But they're like trying to hide it in like plants and stuff like that. And then they get the bright idea just to throw out the front door.
Yeah. When she leaves the room again, everyone gets Dwayne to throw out the food. Literally, he opens the front door and just
like
toss. Liv is happy and goes to get more snacks because she bought them in bulk.
Which I thought she made them, so I'm just like, what were they? I just they're like, look like, not pizza. They look like pizza pockets, but not pizza pockets.
They were like a puff pastry stuffed thing. Obviously, they weren't good.
Yeah.
Bulk was not the way to go. It's like some kind of weird thing you find left over in the back of your freezer that probably should just get thrown away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not good. The doorbell rings. Dwayne goes to answer it. It's their professor, holding a bouquet of flowers. Liv comes up to him and kisses him. Liv takes Professor Ramsey inside and introduces him as her boyfriend.
He's a good-looking guy, and he doesn't look much older than them, but they all make him out to be like way older than what he is.
Yeah. He tells the group that he is no longer their professor. They can now call him Preston. Professor and Liv go into the kitchen to fix him a drink. Nicole promises to get everyone to play nice. Jerry texts to say she left in a hurry because her grandfather passed away and was sorry. Preston comes back into the room. Bryan compliments him on his jacket, and they go into the next room to talk.
Which he's a complete sort of like douche about it. It's just like the toy jacket. He's like, it's from France. And I'm like,
he's like, oh, you like this jacket? It's really nice, huh? Don't touch it.
But it's from France. My friend got it. And I'm like, it's a tweed jacket with arm patches. It's a traditional professor. You got it at Goodwill, didn't you?
So Dwayne asked if anyone is smelling something burning. Liv is upset. Her snacks are burnt. The evil Santa switches the bag of gifts for the Secret Santa gift exchange to give a super secret scary surprise. The perv, who was sneaking outside, sniffs panties in Nicole's room. Ooh, naughty Nikki.
Oh, naughty Nikki. Oh, where have you been, oh, naughty Nikki? Oh, you don't ever disappoint, naughty Nikki.
I don't think that was necessary. Were you getting in character?
I am a Shakespearean pervert.
Preston is voted to be the elf. No one mentioned the fun elf hat, so he agrees.
And Preston is not happy to be here at all. He makes they're all nervous with him. He asks them how they're doing, how they think they did on his exam, and they're like, "Oh, I aced it." And he's like, "Yeah,
He's like, "Yeah, sure." Bryan gets the first gift. It's a meat cleaver, exactly what he asked for.
I know, I asked for a rusty nickel.
And pulls it out of the box to show the group. Everyone looks confused. Carissa says she didn't get him that. Everyone wants a drink refill or needs to go to the bathroom.
And then Liv gets upset because you're not supposed to say who it is yet until the end. And it's like, okay.
Nicole asks to speak to Bryan in private. She tells him she found a way to pay off of her debt fast, a job she really loves. Performative, she calls it.
And and it's a job with people, and she's a real people pleaser.
She takes him into her bedroom. Her bed covered in toys and pervertibles. She gets him to sit down, and she plays a video for him. She asked him to say something. He says, something? She explains she gets good money and loves doing this, and she loves making love to him. He feels as if he isn't enough. He goes outside for a break and smokes. He talks to Carissa, who hits on him until he tells her sorry and goes back inside. Pretty confused, old Bryan. Pretty confused. Mm-hmm. He tells Nicole sorry for freaking out. This is all new to him. If it makes her happy, he can't stand in the way. He loves her. They kiss, and he asks for a dress rehearsal before every performance. He picks up a butt plug and asks her what it is. She says, I'll tell you later. They return to the gift opening fun. Carissa got a modified hairdryer.
It looks like a paint gun. It looks like a gun, like a paint heat gun. That's what I thought it was.
Dwayne, gardening shears. Liv, electric carver. The only one who seems happy is Liv. How thoughtful, she says. The perv in Nicole's room was sniffing her underwear and watching her video on her computer. The killer stabs him in the head with a butcher knife.
You give it a 3 out of 5.
Yeah. Nicole goes to open hers and the doorbell rings. Carissa answers. It's carolers. She says no and almost closes the door until Liv comes and says, it's okay, sing another. It keeps the door open wide for all to hear the singing. Sing another, they just start singing the same song.
Hit it again, Sam.
Dwayne is annoyed by Bryan and Nicole making out on the couch. Carissa asks him if he wants to go get laid. He says yes and follows her. Carissa and Dwayne go to her room. Things barely get started before she gets bored and leaves him because his soldier wasn't standing at attention.
There was no salute in those pants.
He says, worst day ever. Poor Dwayne.
Yeah.
Liv goes to the loo and the killer jumps out of the shower and helps her to take off those last few stubborn inches off of her waist with the electric carver. She seems so totally shocked.
Roast beast,
I suppose.
I guess. I got nothing. 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Nicole is back in the living room, and no one is there. And then Preston appears behind her, asking her where Liv is. They make a comment about Dwayne, Carissa, and how weird it is, and that he's going to fail his class. Then he wants Nicole to open her present, which is the biggest one. Back in the living room, things get awkward between Preston, Bryan, and Nicole. Bryan leaves for another beer, and Nicole leaves to go find Liv. Next, Dwayne is pep-talking himself when his little friend decided to come out to play. But then we hear the sound of scissors. Dwayne looks up and we get kill number 5. We got trimming back the limbs. Poor little guy.
You missed a whole section.
Go ahead.
Before this, Carissa goes to take a bath. Dwayne yells to her, saying, she says, give it up. He's still laying on her bed. He finally gets hard, and the little member gets cut off.
I just said that.
You said she went to go take a bath?
I didn't say that part, but I said everything else. Again, 4 out of 5. Yeah. Chris is getting ready for her bath. Strips down. She has an okay body.
But that happened before he got...
No.
She went in there and they were actually yelling back and forth at each other.
Well, yeah.
Before...
Okay.
His second head got decapitated.
When a figure walks in, she thinks it's Dwayne, but it's a surprise it's not. And the masked person plugs up the hairdryer and throws it into the tub, but it unplugs and lands on the floor. Actually, I thought that was hilarious.
They look down at the unplugged hairdryer and they're like, huh.
And so the masked man decided to kill number 6. Screw it, I'm just going in. And he just hits her head, nails it on her head.
Multiple times.
Multiple times. I mean, enough where he cut through the skin with the mouth of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She was all bloody, and then she disappeared beneath the waves of the bathtub.
Nicole says, wow, and they thought I was the loud.
Yeah, because they thought it was naughty sounds. Nicole goes looking for them. She hears them screams and thinks it's they're being loud. Then we see the bathroom covered in blood, and Carissa sinks slowly into her bath. Back in the living room, Preston is finishing off another bottle of whatever, wine. Bryan runs into Preston. They startle each other. Bryan mentions looking in the basement for Liv, and Preston urges him to do so. Nicole comes back and from outside. Still no sign of Liv, because supposedly previously she was caught at 2 o'clock in the morning cutting limbs because she has OCD. So that's a thing. And then Preston goes to the restroom. We hear a thump. We see Preston holding the electric knife. He says it's not what it looks like.
Holding the electric knife while standing over Liv's body.
Yeah. Bryan and Nicole exit the house. Bryan opens the passage side of his car. Nicole sees a bloody knife. She runs back into the house, locks the door, locking out Bryan. Bryan runs to the big bay front window. Bryan begs to be let back in. Then a masked person tackles him and gives him his present. We give that a 3 out of 5. We don't see much, but Nicole screams.
Bryan gets clevered.
Yeah, that was a cleavering statement.
Nicole is so upset she didn't get to show him her Nikki side.
Which probably would have cleaved him anyway. Then the masked person holds up.
The killer tests out the cleaver by decapitating Bryan.
Yep, and he shows her the decapitated head. Nicole runs into the kitchen, and we see all the knives are gone. Preston comes in and see what is going on. We get kill number 7, and he gets an earful of screwdriver.
I think it's ice pick.
No, I think it was a screwdriver. Everything is like stuff you would find in your garage. 3 out of 5. It's sort of inventive, I guess. Then we see a masked figure appear behind her and in front, and then another one knocks her out. When she wakes, she finds out that she also stabs one of them with she picks up a poker, a fireplace poker, and she stabs one of them with it. The first one that sort of jumps her, and then they knock her out, and then she wakes up and she finds out it's the carolers. Nicole mentions she stabbed the guy well. To go find out, it's Meg who gets stabbed, and she wants revenge, but the guy says not yet. Nicole asks why, and the answer is, it was Christmas, 1987, and something about Tommy got what he wanted, but I wanted to miss Molly Pisserpants. And 3 hours later of interpretive dancing, at the end, Nicole is like, well, that was dumb. Tells them that she would rather kill herself than go through that again, and why couldn't they not give her the cliff notes? Then she like picks up a knife or something, and it was able to cut her
Piece of broken glass.
Yeah, cut her way out of her ties. And at this time, we find out that Meg bled out, and she pleads to the older woman to let her go because she seems nice. To go find out she's a psychopathic killer with a knack for dismemberment. How would you find that out? Is that like an online quiz somewhere? Then they tell Nicole to open her present. She asks for help because her hands are tied. She is slashing at his face with a piece of glass. The old lady runs at her. She picks up the knife that he dropped and stabs her in the stomach. We get a kill number 8. It's a 2 out of 5. Man. Then Nicole runs upstairs. Male carrier follows. She runs to her room and when he enters, she throws a dildo at his head and goes down without much of a fight. As he goes down, she picks up the poker. She returns to the kitchen. Nicole gets stabbed in the stomach. She plunges the poker handle deep into the guy. She lays on the ground. He escapes, and we hear sirens in the background. 1 year later, we see Nicole
He says something to her.
Yeah. Something like, I'll be back. You haven't seen the last of me.
Yeah, you haven't seen the last of me.
1 year later, we see Nicole is getting dropped off by a lover, friend.
It's a friend.
Savannah, which asks her to come out with her. She tells her no, and she has a lot of work to do. Because those dildos don't dildo themselves. She goes into the house, locks the door, opens her toy drawer, which she smiles at. Hello, my little lovelies, and how are we doing tonight? We see her do various things, and then we see the male carer from before open the window of the house and squeeze through and hide. She gets set up for a show. He awaits with a knife in the closet. As he hears her start, he comes up, plunges the knife into the head of a blow-up doll, and we see the screen, her computer screen, say "Gotcha." We see Nicole under the bed with a chainsaw in hand. She starts it up, and she cuts off his feet, then wishes him a Merry Christmas as she cuts.
She thanks him for the present. She says it came in handy as she stands and chops off his head.
Yeah. And
that's the end.
So, yeah. What's your score?
I give it a 4 out of 5. The idea of the movie was original. The killers were meh. The gifts to create kills could have been a bit more original. Less obvious type things. That's my opinion. The character development wasn't great. Who is this was a common theme. Overall, the feel of the plot was entertaining. The body of decapitated killer at the end was not to scale, but, this is a pretty common theme for the era. The jacket of the film was interesting. It shows the killer with a sledgehammer. I thought that would have been nice if that would have been one of the implements used by the killer. That's one thing that kind of irritated me. But other than that, I thought it was a pretty cohesive, put together film.
I give this a 4.5 out of 5. It's a nice homage to slasher flicks of the 70s and 80s. The grain feels real and it's not overdone. It doesn't just it's added in there in post and just. It feels like it's really a part of the film. And then there's also the saturation you have. It's not just a clean film with grain over it. There's actually some good post work in this compared to other digital grain. The acting is okay, and there's not much character development, but at the same point you feel like you get to know the characters, you just don't get to know their names. Like you get to know their personalities more than the names. It's sort of like you're sort of thrown into the middle of something. Like you've known them for years and you're past the name thing. The film is also action from start to finish and doesn't have many dead spots.
But you don't realize until the end that these people have been friends for the whole 3 or 4 years that they've been going to college.
Yeah.
You don't realize until the end.
Yeah. But my point is, it's just
you're close to the end. You don't realize that.
You just know that they were friends for a long period of time. That's what I was trying to get at. Yes, it doesn't have character development because I think it was stunted the film at the same time. Like I said, that's one thing I like about it to some extent is that you don't have to. You don't have a whole bunch of you don't have a half an hour disposition of these people were connected through this way and they went to high school and. Yes, I understand your perspective. You like disposition. But
in some ways that adds suspense too, so.
Yeah.
Because you connect with the characters and then you feel bad when they die.
Yeah.
In this case, you're like, I'm glad they died. They annoy me, you know. So
I get
that's
that.
when character development actually plays an important role, because then you feel bad when they die.
But this works because this is an exploit. This is a homage to 70s and 80s film, and a lot of 70s and 80s films were that way. You didn't know about the victim. You just know that they were the victim. Mm-hmm. And there's always the woman that survives. There's always that. Everybody dies except for one person. Yeah. These are horror tropes. But, like if you think back to all the Jason movies and stuff, you really don't know who's who. You don't care about the campers. You don't know who the campers are. Mm-hmm. You just know that they've been friends for a long time, and this fancy this because... And that's what I'm saying. This is why I sort of like this movie, because it is a homage to it. But you do feel connected to some extent with the characters without having to go through the half an hour of disposition of like character development. That this person was connected this way and this way, and you get to know that Bryan is with Nicole, but he cheated on her with Chrissy, and Jerry is just sort of there in the old room together. But I'm saying you're to the point of like friendships where you're past the name stage. You're just. That's sort of why I liked it about it, because you're just a part of it. It's not a narrative of anything. Mm-hmm. So, that's our different outlook on stuff. You like to have that backstory and stuff like that. And sometimes it works. But in other times, I'm just like, I could care less about backstory. Like, I could care less about the backstory of the killers. I just think it's hilarious that it was the carolers. And I like that sort of like, and I was thinking about it, being a caroler, it's sort of creepy because we open our doors to carolers. We'll stand in our doors for carolers. Bye. See you later. Bye.